Hey guys, it is Christina here. I thought I would just come and do a quick live before we go out and start doing some food shopping. Um, so, balancing your neurology is what I've titled this talk, really. So you'll hear my family getting ready to to go out in the background. So just bear with me. It's all good. It's just life in our family. Um, but I wanted to come and talk about this because I know for myself that I have to constantly look at balancing my neurology. So, for example, right now, with all the stuff that's going on in Melbourne, what's happening in the towers and the flats, that for me is really troublesome. Like, it bothers me what's going on there, and I'm upset about it, and it's frustrating. And I think about it in terms of my family. And if that situation was to happen to my family, we would find that really, really challenging. Just simply from the point of view of being, in a flat and not being able to go outside and have some sort of outlet. Like for us right now, one of our outlets is actually managing the garden and growing food in the garden and, having our chickens and doing all those sorts of things. Like, it's an outlet for us in regards to managing our neurology and just getting some good mental health stimulation. So if we were locked in our house, I'm sure we would be okay, but there would be some struggles, and some of which would also be with food, because up until today we didn't have a freezer. Like, we had like a little camp fridge that we've been using as a freezer, and we've had it's just a little bit bigger than a bar fridge as our fridge. And so, food wise, we haven't been able to store a lot of fresh produce here in that sense, like even fresh meat or good quality meat. We've if we were stuck in our house, we'd have to be eating canned food, and we'd have to be eating, I have gone and actually got some rice and things like that. So we would eat rice, but it would be about survival food as opposed to thrival food. And I'm just thinking about those people in Melbourne and in those flats and what they might be going through and the experiences that they have and how challenging that is. And I know that when I get to this place of actually thinking about those things, then I can easily, and I know my clients can also easily get to this place where they get stuck in the negative thoughts, in the sense that we're worried, we're concerned, we get stressed, and we get stuck in that place. And it's really important that we actually learn to balance our neurology and balance our emotions, because if we don't, what happens is we hit a wall. We get to the point where we can't carry on, where we can't fight any longer, and we succumb to it. And ultimately, that's of course what the enemy wants. The enemy wants us to be pushed down, to roll over, to do all of those sorts of things, and to be overcome with frustration, grief, and all of the other negative I don't really like saying negative emotions, because they're just emotions, but we have attached negative sort of stuff and negative connotations to them. So we get stuck in this sort of trauma space. And it's really important for us to actually be able to balance that out. And the way that we balance that out is by making sure that we do things that are going to be good for us, that are going to help us lift our neurochemicals. Because from a brain point of view, what happens when we get into this place of stress, worry, and concern is that we're releasing a lot of brain chemicals that are dampening down our experience, which also has this follow-on effect in regards to our biological receptors. So, if we're releasing more of these neurotoxins, then the rest of our body is going to be feeling unwell as well. So we want to balance that out. We want to make sure that we're also feeding our brain with lots of things that are going to be good for us and lift our neurochemicals like serotonin and melatonin, so that we can sleep well and we can do all those sorts of things. So we want to make sure that we're doing that as well, because the more we think in a particular path, the more we're building neuroconnections to that pathway. And we want to be able to really quickly, easily tap into feeling good and connecting with joy and connecting with happiness and all of those sorts of things, just as well as we want to be able to tap into those other emotions like anger and frustration, all of which are actually designed to help create movement. Like anger, the whole purpose of anger is for activation. Like, activation is what anger is for. Like, there's a purpose for all of these emotions that we experience, and it's about some sort of movement. Like, we feel it, then it's meant to come through us, and we're meant to then do something with that. So, you know, if it's anger, it's we feel the anger, we get upset about it, but then we allow that emotion to move through us and take us to a point of activation where we do something about it, where we get active. And, you know, that's always the point when it comes to getting frustrated and getting angry and upset about something, is to move to, what is the activation that's required here for me? It might be that the activation is to write letters. It might be that the activation is to get on a phone and make sure that somebody knows that you're not happy with this, that you don't agree with it, because silence is compliance. If you are silent, you are actually giving your compliance to these things. You're saying, I am compliant with it. I am okay with this. And so we want to make sure that we move from that frustration, that anger, into activation, so that we're not, you know, staying in compliance. But then we also move into, now what am I going to do to feed myself? Now what am I going to do to feed my neurology? And so I've just put up a little post like, don't dance like nobody's watching, but dance like a toddler. They don't even care if there's music. And that actually helps us move into that space of, you know, lifting our serotonin, connecting with positive neurochemicals, which then, you know, lifts our biology of our body so that our cellular structures are not being depressed and depleted, because that then leads us to being sicker or being more susceptible to catching some sort of sickness. Whereas if we are lifting our serotonin, we're balancing this out, we're supporting our immune system, and we can simply do that by connecting into things like joy. So one of my favorite activations for getting into joy is to think about a moment. And if you want to do this activity right now, go ahead and do that. If you've got the space to close your eyes, go ahead and do that. But think of a time in your life when you were really, really joyful. It might be the birth of a baby. It might be a celebration. It might have been a wedding. It might have been some sort of gift that you got that was just amazing, and it was the exact right thing that you needed in that moment. And there was just this joy that was there. And as you think about that, think about turning the dial up on the colors of that image that you've got in your mind, so that the colors are as bright as they can possibly be, that the experience is as vivid as it can possibly be. And then start turning the dial up on the sounds. Like, what were you hearing in those moments? What did it sound like in that moment of joy? What, you know, turn the volume up so you can hear those experiences as loud as they possibly can be. And then think about how it felt in your body, that feeling of being just overjoyed, being so joyful. How did that feel in your body? Where is that feeling in your body? And turn the volume up on that experience as much as you possibly can be, so that you get to this place of joy where your heart is overflowing and it is abundant, and all of your neurology is experiencing the joy of that experience. And then just tap in. Just connect with those feelings. Feel how your body feels all over, having tapped into that joy. Feel that experience as much as you possibly can, and allow those positive serotonin neurochemicals to wash over you, to lift all of the cells in your body, to lift everything up, and bring your attention to it. And that was what we've just done. Is a very, very quick exercise that you can do anytime, any place that you want to do, which will actually feed your body, lift your neurochemicals, lift your biology, so that you are healthier and stronger, and you have a more robust immune system, so that you can continue to carry on, and you can continue to fight for the things that are important to you, that you know you want to be fighting for. So that's it. That's my message today. Balance your neurology so that you can continue to carry on for as long as you possibly can, and stand up for the things that are important to you. And I'm trusting, Karen, that some little person is touching your buttons for you. I hope you have the most amazing day today. Look after your neurology. Balance it out so that if you are diving into some of those more challenging things that are stressful, that bring you down, that worry you, stress you, frighten you, upset you, frustrate you, all of those things, that you balance that out by doing things that are going to be beautiful and beneficial for you, so that you can continue on and you don't hit the wall and you can keep moving forward. All right, that's my little message today. I hope you have the most amazing day today, and we'll catch you next time. Bye for now.